I can think of no better place to celebrate Workers' Day and to ensure that every South African has fair access to a job than here in the Western Cape. And why does the Western Cape work? Because the DA governs here in the Western Cape. And just last week, it's Workers' Day today, just last week we celebrated Freedom Day. Freedom Day. But I want to say very clearly to everybody today, freedom means nothing if you don't have a job. Am I right? Yes. Freedom means nothing if you don't have a job. And the truth is that this government has failed us. Just up the road, you're going to see old Rama Promises. Lichbeck. He's going to be telling everybody there how he's going to create jobs and lots of them. But what has his party done? They've destroyed jobs in South Africa. They've pushed 12 million of our people into the unemployment queue. Do we believe them anymore? Yo, I want him to hear it from here. I want to hear it in Athlone. Do we believe him anymore? They've manipulated you and I and South Africa for far too long. When they took over, the unemployment rate in South Africa was 20%. It is now over 32%. And it increases if you add to that the people who have given up looking for a job. Out of every 10 young people in South Africa, and I can see there's young people here today, can the young people make a noise? That's what I like to hear. Out of every 10 young person looking for a job, 7 will never find a job if the ANC stay in power. The reason they don't have a job is because Cyril Ramaphosa has a job. And on the 29th of May, we're going to make sure that we fire him from that job. We're going to fire him from that job. So while it's Workers' Day all over the world today, it's an international holiday where we pay tribute to those who are working. I think that this holiday needs a new name in South Africa. Because of the ANC's legacy of destroying jobs, today shouldn't be called Workers' Day. In South Africa, today is Workless Day. Because our people sit sonder werk, hulle sit sonder geleenthede en hulle sit sonder 'n toekoms. Ja, dis werkloosheidsdag hier in Suid-Afrika vandag. As gevolg van die ANC vier ons nie vandag Werkersdag, dis werkloosheidsdag. But you know what? There's one exception in South Africa. Because there's 8 provinces run by there's 8 provinces run by the ANC. There's only one province where we can really celebrate Workers' Day today, and that province is right here in the Western Cape. Look at our posters. What our posters say? The Western Cape works. And that is true. Over the past 5 years, this government under our incredible Premier, Alan Winde, let's give him a round of applause. In this province, 8 out of every 10 people have a job. They have a job. Over a period of just 1 year, Alan's government, working with our Mayor, Jordan Hill-Lewis. Where's Jordan? Stand up, Jordan. Our Mayor of Cape Town, Jordan Hill-Lewis. Let's give him a round of applause. These guys are leading governments that create jobs. And in the last year, in this province alone, over 360,000 jobs. That's 360,000 families that can put food on the table. That's 360,000 families who can buy clothing and basic goods for themselves. And that's 360,000 families in the Western Cape that have a future. And they have a future thanks to the DA. But while we're making progress here in the Western Cape, and we're very proud of Alan and Jordan and all of our other leaders, and we're very proud of you, the work here is far from done. And Alan said it himself. We've done a lot, but we must do more. We must do more. And so I'm making you a pledge here today that if you allow us to be re-elected to govern this province with an outright majority on the 29th of May, we will not rest until every single person who wants to work in the Western Cape will find work. That is our pledge to you. And that's why we pledge to create over 800,000 new jobs here in the Western Cape over the next 5 years. But you know what? Julle weet mos, daar's 'n hele lys van partye op die stembriefie in hierdie verkiesing. En jy sien daai name, and they're running around and they're promising our people the sun, the moon, and the stars. That's the reality. But there's only one party. There's only one party in this whole country that can show you the evidence that we get things done. Want dit is baie maklik om hoë beloftes te maak. Jy weet mos, hierdie partye kom sit op jou voorstoep en hulle maak hierdie hoë beloftes. Maar dit is net een party wat dinge kan regryk, en dis die DA. Dis ons party, dis my party, dis die blou party, en dis die party vir die Wes-Kaap. So on the 29th of May, we need you to vote for the DA so that Alan and Jordan and the rest of our team here in the Western Cape can finish the job. We want to finish the job of truly unlocking every ounce of potential in this province. But Democrats, our mission doesn't end there. It doesn't end at the borders of the Western Cape. Because we know, and Alan and Tertius and the government will tell you, that we would be so much further along here in the Western Cape if we weren't being held back by this corrupt national government of the ANC. They are holding us back. Just look around you, if you don't believe me. Just look around you. Everything that works in this province is run by the provincial government. Look at it. Roads, water, sanitation, and basic services. It works because it's run by the DA. But everything that doesn't work in this province is run by the ANC national government. Our trains, the police, and the ports. They don't work, but we're going to fix those things, because when we get into power, we're going to devolve more power down here to the Western Cape. We're going to make sure we use the Western Cape's power bill to say to this national government, we don't want your help for Kili and Bulula. We're going to do it ourselves. We're going to get on and deliver, because that's what the DA does. But Democrats, there's another important reason why we have to liberate the rest of South Africa from the shackles of this corrupt ANC administration. And I want to say to you very clearly today that the unemployment crisis in South Africa, it's not an accident. Dis nie per ongeluk nie. It's not because there's some natural disaster in South Africa. The unemployment crisis today is man-made, and it's made by the ANC. It is hulle skuld dat ons mense sit by die huis sonder werk rondom Suid-Afrika. Dis hulle skuld dat ons kinders het nie 'n kans om werksgeleenthede te kry in die res van Suid-Afrika. Because you see, since 1994, there's been an unholy alliance between the ANC, the SACP, the Communist Party, and COSATU. We all know that. And they've deliberately built a system of economic exclusion. This unholy alliance created a system where the real minimum wage for 11.7 million of our people is zero. They've created a system where the minimum wage for 11.7 million people in our country is zero. Now, they like to lie. There's liegbekke daar by Kusatu huis. They love to lie and say, ons is op die kant van die arme in Suid-Afrika. We're on the side of the poor. But the fact that we have a zero minimum wage for the 11.7 million people in our country who are not employed is because of the legacy of this unholy alliance between the SACP, the ANC, and Kusatu. This unholy alliance is the enemy of the people and the poor in South Africa, and that is a reality. The destructive laws that they have passed have pushed our people into the unemployment queues. The destructive laws and this insider-outsider stitch-up that they've had have pushed 30 million people in South Africa into poverty. Hulle gee nie om vir armoedigheid en die arme mense in Suid-Afrika. Hulle gee net om vir hulle self en hulle lede van hulle organisasies. Who's the voice for the unemployed? Who's standing up every day for the unemployed? I'm telling you who's doing that. It's the DA. We are the party that's standing up and giving a voice to the people who don't have a job. Kusatu only protects those people who have a job. We're looking to protect the people who don't have a job, because that's where the help is needed in South Africa. We don't need to help the employed. We need to help the unemployed, because those are the people who need advantages. Now, I want to make you an undertaking, because we can see when the polls come out and people can see the DA growing, despite all of their best efforts to write the DA off over the last few years, we proved them wrong, because we're not going backwards, we're going forwards. We're not shrinking, we're growing. And it makes them scared. It makes them terrified. And I want to tell you that that makes me even more determined to be part of a new government that's going to take the fight directly to the enemies of jobs in South Africa. So even as a new government with a DA at the anchor of it at a national level, will uphold all fundamental protections for workers and employers as mandated by the Constitution. A new government anchored by the DA will deliberately smash down these walls of economic exclusion that has been built by this unholy alliance. And we will do so by stopping in their tracks these job-killing policies, like cadre deployment, like race quotas, like expropriation without compensation, and the nationalization of the Reserve Bank. We will stop them in their tracks and make sure that those things never see the light of day. But also, young people, we're going to help you get a job, because what we're going to do is give you a leg up in the labor market through a youth employment opportunity certificate, which will allow holders of the certificate to exempt themselves from the laws that consign them to a R0 minimum wage in South Africa, to give them a chance to get a job, And while implementing these wide-scale reforms, we will continue to protect those that are already employed by sustaining the minimum wage at its current level. So don't believe these propagandists who says the DA is scrapping the minimum wage. Our policy is clear. We want to give young people a competitive advantage, and we want to protect people with the minimum wage of those who already have a job. Because, you know what? Unlike the ANC, unlike Kusatu, and unlike the SACP, the DA knows that having 11.7 million people unemployed is not just a number. Because behind that number, there are human beings. Not statistics. These are human beings. And millions of families depend on these human beings for survival. So to the single mother who's sitting at home, who doesn't know how she's going to be able to get baby formula tonight to feed her baby. To the husbands and fathers around the country who've lost their jobs and who haven't been able to find work, and thanks to load shedding and corruption and all of those terrible policies that have been passed by this government, are panicking now because they can no longer feed their families. To the young graduates who did their thing and went to university or to a technical college, who are now forced to beg at traffic lights just to try and make a living. I want to say to you, and we want to say to you, that help is on the way. Help is on the way. And help is going to come from the DA. That's where the help's going to come from, the only party with a proven track record of job creation. The only party that has a track record of getting things done. And the only party with a plan to create millions of new jobs and get people working. In this election, the message is very, very simple. It's very, very simple. If you want a job, vote for the DA. If you want a job, vote for the DA. Because the DA will rescue South Africa. And on the 29th of May, you and I, with our blue t-shirts, are going to march all the way from here in Cape Town, all the way to the Union buildings, and we're going to kick them out, and we're going to take those seats, and together, we're going to make our country work. Together, we're going to create jobs, and together, we're going to build a future where all South Africans have a place to play. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me? Let's go and get it done, Democrats. I love you all. I love you all. Let's go out there, 28 days, and let's make it happen. Let's rescue South Africa. God bless you. God bless South Africa.